One of the most important announcements which have been made over the last couple of days at the World Economic Forum and on the sidelines here in Davos, Switzerland, is the India growth story. There's nobody better placed to talk about growth in India than the RBI Governor. Mr. Shaktikanta Das joins us now. Thanks so very much for being with us. Sir, 7%. Extremely optimistic. It is in line, of course, with what some of the global projections are. What are some of the sectors driving this growth?
You're talking of current year or next
24,
year?
25.
Okay. Now let me also,
Sure.
start by saying that India has recovered from the recent volatilities and the uncertainties and the challenges, this multiple turmoil, one after the other, health crisis followed by, all these geopolitical crises. So India has emerged out of it a lot better. Our macroeconomic stability is far better than most other countries. Financial stability is also, our financial sector is also doing well. And the 7% growth in the current year, when we said it for current year, it looked optimistic. But as you know, the National Statistical Office has given a number of 7.3%. Now talking of 24-25, I made a statement in some other forum yesterday that we expect, I have a sense that the economy will touch a real GDP growth of 7% next year. And I said this on the basis of the overall macroeconomic conditions prevailing in the country. You see, all economic activities, the momentum of economic activities are remaining very positive. And we have reasons to believe that this positivity, this momentum will be maintained well into next year and beyond. I have made a statement also that India has now entered into a period of growth long haul.
Yes.
And economic activities are holding their ground. Momentum of economic activity is maintained. Aggregate demand conditions are remaining positive. Investment activity has started picking up, backed by continued high capital expenditure by the government. Private sector capex is also picking up, and agriculture sector in the current year and also expected to do better in the next year. So with all these confluence of factors and with lot of activity also happening in with regard to investment in the new age technologies like fintech, in startups and technology based activities, that gives us the confidence to say that next year the growth would be touching about 7%.
So inflation at what, 4.5%? That is what you're projecting?
Next year average, yes, 4.5%. You see, immediately after the Ukraine war, our headline inflation had touched 7.8%. Now thereafter, because of the monetary policy actions which we have taken, which was also aided by the supply side measures taken by the government, inflation has been steadily coming down, and we are on our way to reach 4% target. But next year's average is expected to be 4.5%. The positive aspect of it is that our inflation is now well within the target band of inflation, but we are not satisfied with that. We would like our inflation to reach 4% and remain around 4%. Just let me complete that bit. So therefore that is our endeavor, and the core inflation, the core inflation has now come below, marginally below the 4% headline target. So we expect next year's average inflation to be 4.5, inflation to steadily moderate towards 4%.
Sir, one of the areas of concern now presently, the Red Sea scenario, there are attacks which are taking place. India's maritime supply lines are through those waters to a large extent. Is this an area of potential concern?
You see, there are lots of, global uncertainties. You just mentioned some of them. These are new flashpoints in global, geopolitics. And as we stand today, India is quite well placed to deal with these challenges. How these, Red Sea area conflicts and how the movement of ships, etc., are going to pan out are things which have to be watched and monitored. And I think various national governments, including India, are doing their best to see that the movement of our ships or ships coming towards India and all are not disrupted.
And a final question, sir. The last couple of days have seen lots of interesting conversations, for example, on artificial intelligence, also the overall state of the world economy. India remains a clear outlier.
You see, at the general systemic level, there is a lot of interest around India. India is outlier in the sense that Rest of the world is not witnessing contraction. Rest of the world has escaped the earlier apprehensions of a hard landing, but nonetheless global growths and individual country growths have slowed down. In the middle of all this, India is recording 7% plus growth. Inflation also, most of the countries as in India have moderated, but every country including India, we are yet to reach our target levels. That is an area which receives our continued focus. And in this, I would like to mention 2 points where there is a lot of interest shown by, my interaction with people from other countries. It shows there is a lot of interest about how the fintechs, how the technology sector, how the startups are doing in India. There are a lot of questions about the Reserve Bank's, central bank digital currency, which we have launched, the e-rupee, now which is based on blockchain technology, and what has been our experience, how we see this, what is the potential of it, how we are going about it. There is a lot of interest around the CBDC of the Reserve Bank of India. There is a lot of interest about UPI. Countries are asking questions, they would like to have it in their countries. So in the area of technology, in fintech, in payment systems, there is a lot of interest. And these are areas where conventionally, questions, there was not so much interest on India. But this time around, I find there's a lot of interest on these areas.
Indeed, sir. Thank you very much for speaking to us. The RBI Governor talking to us, telling us among other things where India's GDP growth is projected to be for 24-25. The inflation numbers much better now. Things are coming out of the COVID situation we saw, but also a great deal of interest over here in Davos, Switzerland.